Hello and welcome to Hidden Fields for the Java High Performance Positions. My name is Sven and I will explain in this series what you can do with tiny, maybe unknown tools to get really good performance inside your Java app realized. So, if this is the right one and if you want to know why Microstream could be a game changer if you're talking about serialization, stay tuned. Microstream. Coming to the solution for positions with Microstream. Microstream is free to use, it's not open source, and it's developed by a German company from the south of Germany. So what's the special thing here? First of all, it's fast, otherwise it wouldn't be in this series about high performance positions. And the other thing is it's some kind of completely different, or it's a completely different approach how to persist data. If you're looking at other solutions, you had, for example, document-oriented solutions or key-value pairs or whatever. So mostly it's in a way that you have to define how to serialize data, or you have to decompose in lower-level structures, for example, to hash maps, to key-value pairs or whatever. With Microstream, it's a completely different approach. So what's possible here? So Microstream is just consuming the object graph you're giving to this engine and it's persisting it. That's it. So that's a whole explanation about Microstream. So it's different because you don't have to deal with serialization by yourself, and it's not using the default serialization techniques that are still available. So you can't compare it with Creo, you can't compare it with other open source tools or tools here, and it's not using the default Java serialization. So it means you have a different approach here. It's not open source, so I can't really explain how it is done, but I try to break it. So I wrote on DZone a few articles about it, where I'm just testing how to work with this one. But what we are doing today is we have a look at it. So the first of all, how to use it. So it's free to use, so it means you can try it by yourself, and you have to add the repository from them. It's repo.microstream.1/repository/maven-public. Nobody can remember this one, so check the description below. I will write the link down there so you can try it by yourself, or just search for Microstream 1. And then you have to add at least two dependencies. The first dependency is a one.microstream is a group ID for all of this, and then you have the storage.embedded, and the other one is storage embedded configuration. So these two dependencies you have to add, and then you are ready to go. How to use it? Yeah, it's so simple. You're just creating a class. For example, here this example was hello world, adding your attributes. I'm just adding a string, and then it doesn't matter if you're adding getters or setters or constructor values or whatever. So you're just creating a class, you're adding your attributes. If it is immutable or not, it's there's no, yeah, that doesn't matter, just doesn't matter. Then you start the embedded storage engine. It's embedded storage.start, and then you have to set the root. In this example, I'm just adding the value itself, and after this I just say store root, and then you can shut it down. The main thing is that this is just for one value, or if this is an entry for a graph coming to the data structures itself. So you can use all data structures that are available in the JDK, inside the JDK, and then you can compose whatever you want. So if you have an app model itself, you can just use this one. How to do it. So for example, you're creating a class and then you have subclasses and you're building up your graph, your entity, you hold it in memory, and then you can set it as root and store. If you have more than one entity, and I assume it is like this, then you can do it like this, that you are adding as root a list, a map, whatever. So some data structure that can hold different values, and then you're adding your entities to this data structure. For example, you have a list. Inside this list, you're adding your entries, entities, and the list is a root, and then you say store root. There is a possibility for partial graph loading, so then you have to add something I will cover it in a second. But first of all, you just have to deliver your entity, you're defining a root, and then you say save. Well, that's the main thing. One thing that you should have in mind is that it's loading the whole graph in once, and if you don't want to have the whole graph loaded in once, then you should build in lazy references. It's more or less a dynamic proxy, and it's called, I don't know, lazy.reference, and then you can add the next level of the attribute. This is not nice, because you have to add this one inside your model. On the other side, you don't have to change the model itself, you're just pushing this reference in between, and then you have the possibility to load exactly in this position the graph. I'm explicit talking about graph because you can have cycles. So I tried it so that entity A references B, B, C, and C again A, and whatever you're using as root or wrapping it in some lists or whatever, Microstream is able to handle this one. So you really can provide graphs and store them. There is no special inheritance needed. So for this you don't have to implement an interface, or you have to inherit from some special class. So you're just using your plain Java classes. That's a nice thing. One thing you should have in mind is there is no transactional behavior so far. I don't know if it is planned by them, but so far they have no transactional behavior on top of it. But you can use, for example, MVCC. In one of the previous sections I explained MVCC a little bit and gave some references where you can find a cool Java implementation about it. Otherwise, check the description or call me. So then you can add MVCC on top of Microstream, and this is quite convenient because it's not so difficult. And the good thing is you don't have to deal with serialization itself. So really, take a graph, store it, that's it. Load it, that's it. Yeah, the best thing is you try it out. If you want to read a little bit more about it, check out my profile on DZone. I wrote a few articles about it, and then you see what I tried and so on. Microstream is a bigger topic, so because if they are really able to provide an alternative to the core Java serialization and be different in a way that you don't have to do all this mapping by yourself, this would be an amazing approach. So I will go more in detail. I will provide more videos for this about this topic. So I'm not really done with my research, but I really recommend that you try it out by yourself, and I would really appreciate if you give me feedback about your experience, and you would if you would ping me back. So this for sure. Yeah, otherwise I can just say try it out, and yeah, have fun.